guys, it's Kayla and Reggie, and today we are counting down our top 10 favorite rides and attractions at Dollywood.
So we went to Dollywood for the first time this past October and just fell in love with the place.
One of the most beautiful parks in America, landscaping, theming, thoughtfulness everywhere. I would say it's almost in line with a Universal or Disney. And I don't say that lightly.
Absolutely, yeah, I would agree. Dollywood is not your regular amusement park like a Six Flags or a Cedar Fair. They go above and beyond, like Kayla was saying, like Universal, Disney type level of effort here on all fronts.
Absolutely. Yeah, the care and attention in this park that's a 10 out of 10.
Agreed. All right, let's get into it.
Right. Starting off our list at number 10, we've got Blazing Fury. This is a pretty unique ride, whereas it mixed dark ride elements into a coaster. It's traveling through a town under siege by fire. Firefighters have to come in and save the day, and it's essentially walking through that event.
Right, yeah, the amount of set pieces on this ride is incredible. The one negative I have to say about this, I think it goes through those scenes a bit too fast, so it's very hard to take everything in. So I wish it would kind of go slower through those scenes so you can really see everything that was going on.
I agree with that.
I would say it's mostly dark ride, but the end of it does become a roller coaster, as you'll see if you experience this thing. It ends with 3 drops, and if you're in the back row, you're getting some good airtime on these.
Oh yeah, if you've got the patience, there is a surprise element.
All right, moving on to number 9, we have Dragon Flyer. This is a Vekoma family suspended coaster that is maybe the smoothest roller coaster I've ever ridden in my entire life.
And I mean, you'll hear me say this a lot on this list. The paint job and the theming and just like the placement and the care taken here is pretty mind-blowing. This may not be the most thrilling ride in the park, but you can tell that the attention put here was very thoughtful. This is for family, this is for kids. It's a good way to maybe start out a thrill coaster.
Absolutely, solid family coaster. That being said, though, that first drop and overbank turn have some forces to them, so Granny and little Timmy are going to be in for a surprise on that one.
A bit of a whip, yep, in the beginning.
And yeah, like Kayla was saying, anytime a roller coaster is green, it just gets bonus points for me.
Yeah, that's a favorite color. On to number 8, we are navigating away from roller coasters, and we are headed towards their drop tower, the drop line.
This is a fantastic drop tower. I put it above, like, your average one for sure, just because it rotates, which gives everybody on the ride great views of Dollywood, which is a very beautiful park, so...
And the Smoky Mountains. So it's...
Oh, right.
Yeah, it's one of the most beautiful views you're going to see at the top of a drop tower, right before you are thrillingly sent towards the ground.
My favorite part about this ride is that there's never a line for it, because people are apparently terrified of drop towers, so that always works out for us.
Yep. Works out in our benefit.
Coming in at number 7, we have another family coaster by Gerstlauer. This is Fire Chaser Express. This thing is fun.
Absolutely. The theming also is here with the firefighter element. That is really important to Dolly. We've heard that that's a big part of the community she grew up in, and she showcases what's important to her, and I do really appreciate that aspect as well.
This ride has 2 launches, 1 forward, 1 backwards. The backwards section is definitely my favorite part of the ride. And the pacing is really the only negative thing about this. You'll see this on a lot of Gerstlauer coasters where it has a lift hill right in the middle of the ride, which kind of ruins it a bit for me. I prefer if the lift hill was first, or if it was just negated altogether with maybe another launch instead of a lift hill. But besides that, just fantastic family coaster.
Absolutely. Moving on to what we feel is the best themed ride on this list is Mystery Mine. This is a Gerstlauer mine train that really takes that definition up a notch.
Fantastic theming on this. You start off just by dropping right into the mine with some incredible set pieces.
And incredible elements, too. There are fake explosions, fake mine cave-ins, so it definitely brings some terror into this element, too, especially if it's brand new to you.
This is certainly a ride of 2 halves, that's for sure. The first half, not really a fan of. It's got some jankiness to it. You hit your head a few times on those over-the-shoulder restraints. Yeah. I'd much prefer if this had lap bars, but back when it was created, all of these Eurofighters had the over-the-shoulder restraints. The second half involves a 90-degree drop and 2 amazing inversions, a 0G roll and also a dive loop, and this is what makes the ride what it is.
As fun as it is, I would say our favorite part is Buzz, the vulture. He sits right outside the queue, and he's very sassy and mean, and if you've got a few extra minutes, just go visit him. Go say hi to Buzz.
Oh, absolutely. You can't miss out on Buzz. He's actually one of our best friends now.
Yeah, dear friend. Before we go into our top 5, we have a few honorable mentions we would like to give some praise to. Dollywood is an amazing park. There's nothing bad here, so credit where credit is due.
But we only had 10 spots on the list, so unfortunately a few of these had to miss out. But these are all fantastic rides.
Something's got to give.
Yeah, we have a pair of water rides here, Daredevil Falls and the Smoky Mountain River Rampage. I'd consider both of these to be above average water rides.
You definitely have the opportunity to get soaked on this, so if you go on a hot day, we recommend bringing a change of clothes.
Absolutely.
Next on honorable mentions, we have Barnstormer. It's a scream and swing that is a fun attraction, but it's not totally unique. You can find these all over the place, and there was nothing that made it pop out as far as the other attractions on this list did, so that's why it earned an honorable mention instead.
Exactly. You can find a lot of these at a lot of theme parks, and my biggest issue with this ride is the length. I feel like a few more cycles would be better, but that's not specific to this ride. Every ride of this model seems to have the same issue with
length. It's the nature of the ride.
The length of the ride, yeah. And for capacity reasons, I understand why it's such a short cycle.
Exactly. Maybe at like a local fair or something, you might get lucky with a larger cycle, but yeah.
All right, moving on to our top 5 now. Getting to it.
Nitty gritty.
We have Tennessee Tornado, which is a fantastic arrow looper. Not something you can say about most arrow loopers, as if you've ridden them, most of them are just complete headbangers. This one was built in 1999, just a few years before the company went bankrupt, so it's definitely one of their smoothest, if not their smoothest looper they've ever built.
Yep, so this ride has a great first drop that leads you through a tunnel and goes right into a huge first loop.
You get some serious hang time on this first loop. It's the profiling on it is a little weird, but it works. It is so much fun. Also, there's another set of inversions, double loops. I think they are calling it Dolly's Iron Butterfly.
That's so cool.
That is pretty cool, and they are intense. This is where you're getting the most positive G's on the ride. Very good stuff.
If we had any complaints, they're very minor. I would say it might be in need of a new paint job, and the ride is a bit short, but doesn't make it any less fun.
Yeah, I think when Dollywood built this, they didn't have the money that Dollywood does today, so they had to keep this ride a little bit shorter.
Moving on to number 4, we've got Big Bear Mountain. This is the newest addition to the park and a fantastic family coaster. I know I said it before, beautiful paint job. Orange on the blue sky behind it, looks amazing. It's in a beautiful grassy plain too, so you really feel like you're submerged into the elements here. The queue, fantastically themed.
So this is another family coaster, and being this high on this list, you really know this is an awesome ride. It's got 3 launches, so pacing is incredible on this ride. It doesn't die down for a second. Going 48 miles per hour, this is a bit more thrilling than your average family coaster, that's for sure. 3 launches on here. It just gets better and better as it goes on, which is fantastic.
Piggybacking off the theming, the onboard audio really lends itself to the immersion. Going through the cave and hearing that big bear growl underneath that waterfall it's pretty intimidating, actually.
It's cool.
Yeah,
it's cool, yeah. Along with the bear noises, there's this awesome, folksy song that they're playing through the speakers, and it's so much fun. It's an absolute just head bopper, like.
Exactly, yeah, we're going to have to put that on our next road trip soundtrack. We may eventually make a top family coaster list, and I would say this would reach very high on that list.
Oh yeah, there's a few I can think of that I prefer.
Would beat it?
But it's high on that list.
It's up there.
All right, moving on to number 3. We have a B&M wing coaster in the Wild Eagle. And this thing is just so photogenic and beautiful.
Yep, that blue track in the sky weaving through the green trees is a spectacle, I would say. It's very photogenic, like you said.
Mm-hmm. Very smooth and floaty through the inversions. That first drop and loop are awesome.
As fun and as beautiful as this ride is, it could be a bit more intense. We have actually heard people call it the mild eagle. So just to give you a sense of what maybe the locals call it.
I can see it, yeah. It's fun throughout, but towards the end, yeah, it dies down a little bit and it just kind of meanders, if you will.
Meanders through a pretty set of woods, but still.
Yeah, it's still fun.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Oh, and that big iron eagle outside of the queue is one of the most beautiful photo spots in the park, I think. It's pretty cool.
Indeed.
Now we are moving towards the top 2 on this list. These 2 we think are kind of far and away compared to the rest of the list. For the enthusiasts in us, there is a huge gap between 2 and 3.
These top 2 rides stand far and above the other ones. It's not even close, honestly. These 2 rides are world class.
These are enthusiast bucket list rides.
Yeah. Dollywood's true wooden roller coaster here coming in at number 2 is Thunderhead. And this thing is absolutely fantastic. It just received new track work last year, and it is running better than ever.
The seats are basically couches. They're like leather, comfy couches. And what may normally throw you around and hurt you, it doesn't, because they took care to make sure you were padded in safely.
Between the new track work and those literal couches that you're sitting on, that absorb all the blows from the ride. It is an extremely smooth experience now. Just airtime pop after airtime pop, you are just getting thrown out of your seat left and right. Impeccable pacing. This ride does not let up from the first drop to the end. I'm trying to think of a negative thing to say about this ride, but I really can't. There's nothing bad to say about this ride. It is just fantastic.
One of our favorite wooden coasters.
GCI really did a good job here with this one. This is one of GCI's best work.
Absolutely, I agree with you on that. And of course, rolling into our number 1 spot.
I'm sure you've guessed it by now.
Lightning Rod.
What a specimen this ride is.
We have plenty to say about this one.
We'll start with the good. This is the best setting for any ride in this park. It just takes you through this awesome journey through the woods, and it is just so much fun.
Oh yeah, weaving in and out of the trees. I almost felt like I was a big cat running through the woods.
The launch is fantastic when it's working.
When it works.
We'll get to that in a bit.
we went in October, and that was the last few weeks of the uphill launch. So we got to experience it in its last days.
After the launch, this ride has an amazing first drop, and then an outward bank turn, and then a wave turn. You get some serious ejector airtime on, and this ride just gets better and better. The pacing on this ride is excellent.
Oh, it does not let up. If anything, it becomes more intense as you go. That ending with that quad down, that's where I feel like the Panther in the Woods is.
Exactly, yeah. One of the best elements on any ride ever. Yeah, just absolute ejector airtime over and over and over again. And there's also a little hill after the quad down, which kind of makes it like a quin down.
I guess so, a quin down.
Yep. As great of a ride this is, it is one of the most frustrating rides in the world.
With greatness comes great frustration.
This ride is this ride used to be so unreliable.
And temperamental.
This was such an ambitious project from RMC, launching a wooden roller coaster uphill. It's never been done before, and we can kind of see now why maybe it shouldn't be done.
It came with its issues. It maybe wasn't either ready or... I mean, if you look at it like a prototype, of course there are mistakes in the beginning. It's something that needs to be worked on. It needs to be finessed, and... Yeah,
exactly. This thing opened in 2016, and it's been having issues
ever
since then. Yeah, it's just, it's never open. It's just super unfortunate. So turning the launch into a lift hill, I think, is really what this park needs.
It's a smarter decision for the park. And, for capacity reasons.
Will it make the ride a bit lesser? Sure, but... overall, it's still going to be an amazing ride, and Dollywood's best still.
Absolutely. Yep, Dollywood's number 1.
We were there for 2 days. We were lucky enough to get 3 rides on this. Some people have to visit this park 4 or 5 times just to get a single ride. I've heard some horror stories about this thing. So
we got lucky.
So the launch was awesome, but I think switching it to this chain lift hill is a great idea. And I don't think it'll diminish from the ride too much, as after the first drop, it's going to be the same ride again. So... and it's amazing.
Yep. After you skip out on that launch, you'll just be thinking about the rest of the ride anyway. So I don't think it's going to take away from the elements.
Yeah. And I think even with the chain hill lift, still probably put this ahead of Thunderhead. I'm trying to imagine it without the launch, and this would still remain number 1 on this list for sure.
If I had to choose, yes.
Yeah. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoyed this video and want to see more content like this about roller coasters, theme parks, travel, we'd appreciate it if you like and subscribe to our channel. Let us know what your top 10 rides are at Dollywood in the comments down below.
We'd love to learn.
We'd love to hear.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining us.
See you next time. Bye.
Bye.